We are here for another episode. What's going on, all you folks out there? Neighbor, that felt a little somber. I don't know, man.
That did feel a little somber. It's Easter, man.
It's Easter. It's April Fool's. Ah, ha, ha, ha. All right.
See, this from a guy who grew up with a lot of crucifixes in his house. This makes a lot of sense all of a sudden. Hippity hop, buddy. The Easter Bunny's coming.
The Easter Bunny has nothing to do with the church. And first of all, what bunnies shit eggs? So...
Way to be a downer, Steve.
All right, but we got a great neighbor stopping by today, so let's roll into it.
Welcome to Neighbors Don't Knock, the show that brings you hilarious, unapologetic conversations only these neighbors can have. Join them and guests in their weekly mission to expand the neighborhood. Now, here's your hosts, Brian Chambers and Philip Goffrey.
What's going on, guys? All you loyal neighbors out there, how are you guys doing?
It's so weird looking to all of our fans out that way. I've never looked at them out that way before.
Learn how to be flexible.
I gotta rotate.
Is that your workout for the day?
It is actually. Was that the Russian twist with the kettlebells?
Oh yeah, with the one of the. Well, I guess you could do the bells or you could do the medicine ball.
Is that what's called? The Russian twist? I have no idea.
Yeah, that was right. That was good, man. That was
good?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, because you're gonna need it after all those eggs that the Easter Bunny crapped out, or the jelly beans. Sorry, maybe it was jelly beans, guys. I don't know. Whatever. I don't understand how eggs and bunnies got associated with Easter. So.
Well, because it came from the pagans and they like to frolic and reproduce in spring. So.
But eggs,
it was kind of usurped by the Christians,
so it's like,
right?
oh, spring bunnies. Oh, wait, eggs. Oh, let's put them together.
Do you think the Easter Bunny teleports in, or do you think he's like picks locks magically with like his little bunny magic?
No, it's kind of like Santa. He's like the little warp, little holes, and jumps through like
portals.
His own little portals and rabbit holes.
This is very Rick and Morty. I'm picturing a very different Easter Bunny than I used to, for sure. It's got strange biometrics and goo.
Well, you guys, we have a great neighbor that's going to be stopping by. We're going to be talking about a lot of great fun things. That I didn't want to give it away.
Very descriptive. A lot of great fun things.
Yeah. I'm building the intensity with this. It's not going to be about Easter, but we do want to wish everyone out there a happy Easter, whether you celebrate it or not. You're getting wished a happy Easter, so deal with it.
Yeah, and Merry Christmas in advance, all you
and a
naysayers
happy
out
New
there.
Year. Keep
Good.
the change, you filthy animal.
Good
all right,
gracious.
So,
yeah, I'm very, very excited about this guest, Brian. Can I go ahead?
I'm going to let you. Yeah, let's dive into it. Yeah, and of course, stay to the end of the episode for our neighbor tweets.
Absolutely. So today, we are very, very excited to introduce a new neighbor and new friend, a man who goes by the name Tex Lone Star. Old Tex is the founder of something called Doomsday Wrestling, which is a parody wrestling troupe founded right here in Houston. It was actually founded back in 2003. They had pretty humble starts. They started over at Helios Cafe, which some of you might know as the new Avant Garden that's been around over in Westheimer near the Montrose area for quite a while. But they're still going strong to this day, operating with about 25 troop members, entertaining everybody from senior citizens to high school students with their take on kind of laughter and wrestling mashed into one, I should say. I think their tagline
I'm
is
excited for the pain.
I know, ooh, pain.
All right, I'm sorry.
I think their
I
tagline,
had to at least once.
I think the tagline kind of says it all. And Tex was actually expressing some trepidation about using this one in the 2023 world. But their tagline all the way back from 2003 is, violence has never been this funny. And I kind of agree. They seem hilarious. So we are very excited to introduce Tex Lone Star.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Tex Lone Star here. Founder, producer, and ring announcer of Doomsday Wrestling.
Welcome to the show,
Tex.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for
now,
having me.
can we say Tex, or you prefer Tex Lone Star all the way across?
Just say Tex. That's short for Texi, and that's my first name.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. It's kind of like it's like my name's Brian, but you call me Bri.
Do you
like
like it when people call you Bri?
my dad calls me, or I don't know if it's my dad. My parents would call me Bri.
So you got to have like a soft spot in your heart for it.
Yeah.
I guess so, but but there's some people I always ask because
Sure.
we live in a very sensitive time right
who
now,
wants to be called
and
what?
it's like what? No, I'm Brian. You know, it's like oh, I'm sorry, I didn't pronounce that correctly. I'm sorry. And what was that? What was the comedian Brian Regan did the whole Carolyn? No, it's like Carolyn. It's Caroline, Brian. Caroline. You know, it's like people, and it's so funny. And that was years and years ago. But some people are so sensitive about what. And I just want to make sure because this is a big thing for you going by Tex Lone Star.
Yeah. Do you have a middle name?
I do.
Well, what is it? If I may ask.
I'm actually curious. What do you think my middle name is?
Brian. Let's see. Brian Chambers is your name. Brian,
yeah.
Matthew.
Oh, you know what? He was pretty close. You were pretty close. It's not Matthew. Michael.
But
you got M.
Okay.
That was
okay.
that was pretty good.
Brian,
That's a pretty good guess.
That was pretty good.
What if I called you Brian Michael Chambers like at all times?
You know, then I would think I was in trouble.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I was like
your mom
You aren't?
No, that's like when they middle name you when your parents is like Brian Michael. You're like, what are you middle naming me for? I was like, what did I do? You know, like, I've been ratted out, boys.
Right. No, I get that. Yeah. I don't have a middle name, though, or I've never thought of one. So
I like it. I like that you nailed it pretty quickly. You're close with the M's, right? You went right for the Christians. You know.
Well, I thought Brian. It's not too exotic of a name.
I dropped the crucifix comment earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
That was pretty smart.
Yeah, it's a book of the Bible, Matthew, right? Is it Matthew's a book of the Bible?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay,
I do believe.
Let's talk about the Bible.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what's fun? Religion.
Go subscribe right now.
Like, subscribe, and follow, and bring it up at your next dinner conversation. It's a really good time.
But I will say, before we get any further with Tex Lone Star here, make sure you do hit that notification bar to get your or get notified when new videos come out and content. So like, follow, and subscribe to us on Instagram and Twitter, as well as on Facebook.
Tex,
all right, but
we
let's
are so
jump back into
excited.
Tex.
Yeah,
we are
yeah,
excited to
no
have you.
no problem.
He's like, do I need to be here for this?
No,
you guys are like
are
you guys having
making this
marital
easy.
problems?
Yeah. No, you guys are making this very easy.
Or
I'm usually when I'm on a
stage,
podcast, it's usually a couple of kids with like a phone they're recording on, and we're kind of huddled over it. This is very top notch, I gotta say.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
We're
no
glad
offense
to have you.
No
in
offense to
studio.
the kids who I've been on and who are probably going to listen to this.
That's okay. Hey, have them listen to it
Yeah.
and watch.
Yeah.
Kids,
Shape it up, kids.
step up your game.
Yeah.
What? The gauntlet's been set. Come on now. Right. Sorry. I thought we were getting right into the intimidation factor of wrestling, right?
Actually,
Eventually, there
right?
will be a fight.
We're going to like leap on.
Yeah.
Like,
Straight over the table.
This table will be split in two.
Yeah. I thought I was in an interrogation room actually earlier. I had these studio lights going. I forgot to put the AC on, so it was getting to be hotter than the surface of the sun in here.
oh, he's like sweating it out.
I know.
But you don't have him when swinging though. Like, it's got like one's got to like swing back
one
and
light
forth.
bulb.
One
Yeah,
light bulb.
that's right.
Yeah. So it's
That's right.
That's when you feel like, ooh.
That helps out Bad Cop, right?
Yeah.
Bad Cop uses that one. So Tex, we're happy to have you in studio because
same
so
here.
often we have to do remote recordings with
wow,
guests,
yeah.
and that's it's wonderful, and I love technology and the fact that they can bring us all together. But having somebody in studio is truly special. So
Oh, yeah.
thank you for taking the time to do
When
it.
you can make real eye contact and play off each other, I think it's a lot easier.
Indeed,
too. I
indeed.
did one podcast while I was in line at a Sonic drive-through. Well, on my phone, it was probably terrible. I never listened to it, but I thought I usually wouldn't do that. But since I was at Sonic, I thought that's a funny thing to talk about. But yeah.
The only thing more modern Texan than that could have been if you said you were at a
Whataburger.
Dairy
What-
Queen or
Dairy
I guess
Queen or
Whataburger.
Whataburger.
Yeah. Whataburger's because it's Texas based and founded, right? But Dairy Queen
Yeah.
is like Dairy Queen's a Texas stop sign,
Yeah.
man. That's just like.
It's, all kinds of things happen at the DQ.
Oh yeah, East Texas. Yeah.
So did you actually order on the show or did you mute the phone?
Yeah, I did actually. I said, hold. I before we started talking,
You
I
got
said,
the
just,
guy in
just
the
to let you
background.
know that I'm going to be ordering here in a minute, so I might have to stop.
awesome.
And they appreciate it. They knew that it's some
Yeah.
bullshit
They're giving
I
you
was
like
told.
tips, like you get the Oreo Blizzard. You know?
Yeah, I had to order stuff for them, even though they were like a mile away, like 10 miles away.
Yeah, so if there's a knock at the studio door and it's like Uber Eats, I'm gonna know it was you.
Yeah,
that was
okay. and there's people coming over, dropping off my laundry and other things like that. So.
Well, I mean, I appreciate the heads up, man. But Uber Eats people that we've had this on the show, we've talked about this in length in other episodes. Go back and check them out.
Indeed.
But Uber Eats, they don't care if you give them specific instructions. They will burst. Walk into this house.
Yeah.
Open the.
Go under the waterfall.
Like they'll do it to get you your food. I'm like, that's dedication,
Yeah.
or just to force that extra tip.
Oh yeah.
Well, before we get into some background, then that actually brings up an interesting question because it does play to an early episode that we did on the show this season. Actually, have you ever been in a performance and noticed like a food delivery happening in the audience?
I haven't. Well, we have. I mean, sometimes this isn't a delivery, but we have food trucks sometimes at events, but that's not really the same thing. We had a gag one time where a wrestler had ordered during his match food, and the little Uber Eats guy showed up and got beat up during the match because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I love that.
Yeah,
Which wrestler took him out?
That was, I want to say, the Top Banana, I believe, one of our former multi-time Doomsday Wrestling champion, the Top Banana.
The Top Banana was the one that took out the.
Yeah, he didn't order it. I forgot who he was fighting, but the
guy who ordered it.
The guy who ordered it, his opponent ordered it, but he
just call him Fast Food Steve.
Yeah. Oh, it was the Lunchador. The Lunchador.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry, I couldn't
that's
think
so
of it.
much better.
Yeah. The Lunchador. Fast Food Steve sounds pretty good too. Why aren't you writing this shit?
Steve. Always Steve.
You don't want me writing this stuff.
Well,
A
on
lot
this
of 80s
show,
references will start to come out.
some people say that you can do no wrong, but on this show, Steve can do no right. So we're thinking of you, Steve.
Yeah. Screw you, Steve.
Yeah. Fast Food Steve. I like it.
No,
So-
oh yes, I was about to say no. Stevedore. I don't know. Now I'm going off the
Stevedore-
rails.
Isn't a stevedore like a guy on a union or something though, or like a? I don't think it's the same as a luchador.
No, it's not the same as a lunchador. Lunchador?
Lunchador.
Lunchador,
which is a play on luchador, which is
Yeah, I like that one better personally.
yeah.
That is way too cerebral for me. My mind went straight to something filthy. I'm like, that must be like a Dirty Sanchez. Like Stevedore. It's got to be.
No, I think it's a guy who works. I think it's like a dock worker on a union. Really. Sorry, we're off on a tangent.
Yeah, no, that's all right. But
I assume you're not unionized over at
No,
Doomsday.
we're not. No, there's no.
whatever.
Damn
Quiet.
unions.
Cut that.
Yeah,
Cut that in post.
I don't want the kids in the show hearing that and forming a union on me.
So, quick, don't let them get together. No, I just have a couple things because when we talked about having you on the show, which again, welcome, and we're happy to have you. For me, Doomsday Wrestling, when Philip was talking to me about this, it seemed very, and maybe this was the intent, like all or nothing type of, like that's what it kind of, it was an all in type of thing when you name something Doomsday Wrestling.
Yeah.
And so
it's kind of the end of the world.
It's
every
kind
time.
of the end of the world every time. Is that kind of how
yes.
you guys approach?
Yes. My character, Tex Lone Star, he's the ring announcer, the commentator. He loves wrestling, and he just wants to put on some good wrestling matches and talk over them and talk about the athleticism and the, and the drama behind it and just the confrontation. But then aliens will invade, and or his daughter will take up smoking, and he has to deal with that. Just a number of things go wrong throughout any episode.
Daddy
of Doomsday
problems
Wrestling.
in the middle of the
Yeah.
show. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, my 16-year-old daughter wrestles currently for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not. So it's so never mind. So I didn't fabricate
Oh,
that.
sure,
That's a legit like.
Yeah. Hi, Charlene. She's out there listening. Yeah.
In fairness, her dad's name is Tex Lone Star. There's got to be some issues buried somewhere in there. So. Don't worry, I've got a 10-year-old daughter that I'm sure I've damaged at some point in her little psyche.
Okay.
So
Well, I don't know if I
continuing
should
to do-
laugh at your 10-year-old daughter joke or not. But,
therapy.
oh yeah.
I
do
take that.
parody. Come on.
Yeah. So all right, let's. How'd you get into this? I mean, was it always a love of wrestling? Is that where it sparked, or did it come really from something else?
It's kind of funny now because I hate wrestling now. I really do. Like,
Wow, okay.
Well, I don't say I hate it, but I really am annoyed by it now. But I'll get into that
you're
later.
talking like modern day.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
TV wrestling, and stuff
okay,
like that.
okay.
No, as a kid, I loved wrestling and I watched it and all that. And I can't remember a
WWF?
WWF, yeah. And I can't remember a time being so young that I thought it was real. I'm sure there was a time, but I can't remember that. It was kind of, to me, obviously, I hate to say fake because I really get injured, but scripted or predetermined. But what I always was drawn to was the absurdity of it, that these two men were fighting every week, or at least trying to fight every week, but they would wait till they're on TV, or they'd wait till the pay-per-view on the upcoming Sunday. And so in my mind, my 12-year-old mind, I used to try to rationalize it like, were they fighting like when they weren't on TV, when they were traveling to the next cities? Were they in their cars trying to run each other off the road because they hate each other so much, or do they just wait till they're on TV?
Well, let's think about that. So Andre the Giant would have been like pounding 60 to 120 beers somewhere between matches. Jake the Snake, Damien would be like
looking for his snake.
shedding his skin or sleeping somewhere, right? Looking
for his
Damien.
Yeah,
Where'd
I
you
guess
go?
there's a lot. There's a
Where'd you
lot
go?
to do in between, I guess.
So you're a child of the 80s then.
Oh yeah.
So did you catch the match when Andre the Giant took out Damien?
That was actually. I think you're thinking of the Earthquake took out Damien.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank
Did you
you.
set me-
Well
are you setting me up
remembered.
just so
Yeah.
I don't
sound
even
good?
remember that. I'm an Ultimate
Yeah.
Warrior fan.
Oh yeah,
I was an Ultimate Warrior fan.
I
So
was too. Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
that was my big.
But there was a bit where Damien took out Andre, where Jake the Snake threw Damien on Andre.
Right.
Andre had suffered like supposedly suffered a minor heart attack, and then it was like Andre. The only fear he had was snakes. And then I think a few years later, that's when Earthquake squashed.
Yeah.
Damien.
Okay. So it was Earthquake. Well remembered. That is
Yeah.
absolutely correct. I sit corrected. And,
Yeah.
you know, in fairness, Andre the Giant probably did have one of like 7 heart attacks that
Oh,
day
I'm sure.
when
I'm
he
sure
did throw it
yeah.
over there. Yeah.
I'm sure just
that
getting
poor
up
guy.
and walking to the ring.
Oh, yeah. He was stroking out like every Tuesday.
Poor Andre.
Poor Andre.
Yeah.
Well, so you're not a wrestling fan,
Well, I was back then.
but back
as
then,
a kiddo.
okay, but
And-
that-
I mean, he
but
knew
that's
it was
not what-
Earthquake
Yeah,
and
I
not
knew that.
Andre
Well,
the
that's what I'm
Giant.
saying.
that
That's
was the
a fan.
heyday. That was the heyday.
But honestly,
yeah.
I wasn't a massive wrestling fan
Yeah.
though, and I still knew all those characters
Right,
because they
yeah.
were so.
Well, they're everywhere. They're so in your face.
Yeah, they were in
Yeah.
your face, and they were very over the top. I feel, and maybe it's because I don't watch as much now, but I feel like they were a lot more over the top in
Yes,
the 80s
that-
and 90s.
And that's what I was getting at. Why I kind of don't like wrestling now. It's
Oh,
because
okay.
I feel like they're trying to sell it to you like it's
like it's
real, like it's
yeah.
UFC or something.
And we know
and
it's
that's not fun. And
yeah.
if I want to watch something real, I'll just watch UFC. But if I want to, when I watch wrestling, I want to see like guys throwing each other in flaming dumpsters and just unreal stuff happening that that is just fun and out there.
So,
Yeah.
so do you consider like when Dwayne the Rock Johnson was coming
Who?
up and
No, I'm
you
joking.
the whole bit was
I don't
smelling
follow
what the
indie
Rock is
wrestling.
cooking and
Yeah,
all that?
yeah.
Yeah. So was that still kind of the fun wrestling,
that's
or was
kinda,
that?
I got back into it briefly. The Attitude Era. I got back into it briefly. That's right before we started Doomsday Wrestling. And I like that stuff, but I do think that stuff was pretty over the top, though. That was pretty out there. Maybe the characters were a little bit more. I won't say they were more realistic, but I don't know. Were they? I don't know. Is Hulk Hogan any more realistic than The Rock? I don't.
Well,
know.
Hulk Hogan, I would dare to say this, and this is only watching him on other shows,
Sure.
and I know reality TV isn't
Right.
real TV, but sorry, bubble
it?
popped.
Yeah.
But I feel like he is more genuine.
Yeah.
His character has become him so much
That he
that
lives
that,
it?
that he
Yeah.
lives it all
Right.
the time.
Right,
I
yeah.
still feel like he's toned down, obviously,
Yes,
with age,
yeah.
but
He's not always talking like
Yeah,
this.
but-
Yeah.
He cries now.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But I feel like he actually embodies that. That's who he is at this
Right,
point.
yeah.
But let me ask you this, because you followed it then, but what other things were you into as a kid? I mean, aside from wrestling.
I mean, as a little kid, I liked. I liked GI Joe and Transformers, Masters of
So
the
kind of
Universe. Yeah, 80s stuff,
everyday
yeah.
80 stuff.
80s
Okay,
stuff,
so
yeah.
Micro Machines.
I didn't have too many Micro Machines, but I did get arrested at age 12 for stealing Micro Machines at a store called Children's Palace.
Well done.
years
We're
ago,
like
yeah.
kindred spirits. This
Really,
is.
we're-
Wait,
oh, yeah.
wait,
Did you get
well
arrested?
done.
Well
It's like
done, yeah.
well done, like golf clap for stealing.
Well, look at the path
you.
it's put me on.
You
I
got
mean-
a rap.
Well, no. He got caught. He realized early he
Yeah,
was
oh,
bad
yeah,
at the
yes.
game. That's why he's not a
Yeah.
thief today.
Yeah, and also
right?
I didn't
You
even
can't
like
do that. You suck at it.
I
you
didn't
know?
even like Micro Machines. I don't know why didn't I even go for something I wanted?
Because
I
you
don't
didn't
know.
have them.
Yeah, I know. I guess it was like I think they were
Well,
expensive
kids,
too. Yeah.
well, kids, what we've learned so far. Let's recap. Don't unionize.
No.
And steal.
Yeah,
Go.
steal when you can.
when you can.
But be careful.
But be careful. Yeah, there's your warning. No, seriously, don't.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of everyday stuff, but you weren't like a sports guy.
No, I
into
was a
anything
nerd.
like that?
I was kind of a. I won't say I was a nerd. I mean, some girls liked me. I don't think I was a total nerd, but I was into geeky things. Like comic books were huge to me. I should have mentioned that first, actually. One wrestling-oriented things. I don't know if y'all remember. Y'all might be around the same age. Like these pink little men called Muscles.
Oh yeah.
Millions
yeah.
of unusual small creatures
Yeah.
lurking everywhere. I was really big into them, and they were supposed to be wrestlers,
Right.
From like space or something. So I had this little ring I made out of a piece of wood, and I put some screws in it and some rubber bands for ropes, and I would have like tournaments with the Muscles, and I had this elaborate coin toss system that I would flip to see who won and how they won. Did they win by disqualification? Did they win by submission or pinfall? And then it was, and I didn't let the guy win who I liked. It was always just look at the coin toss, So
It's kind of like
Yeah.
It's like sounds like the Dungeons and Dragons.
Kind of. It was kind of a bit like that.
wrestling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
roll the dice and you have
yeah. So you're kind of taking chances.
And I know adult groups that play.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
there's
I
people
mean,
that
I mean,
play.
in the theater world, and I know that they
Yeah.
have complete meetups and
Yeah, if I can say so,
know?
that's the one nerdy thing I haven't done is played role-playing games.
Yeah, you mean both.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Same boat.
Yeah, those guys are never.
Oh,
gonna-
okay. So wait. Now we're bashing
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see how this is going. All right. Now,
Oh crap! I forgot the DVR Picard. Damn.
and there we're back.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were kind of a normal
Yeah,
kid.
I'd say so,
You
yeah.
went through all that. Did
Yeah.
you grow up in Texas?
Yes, I sure did. Yeah, I
Okay.
grew up in Houston. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
born and raised,
Yes.
you know, family all from here. It wasn't. It
Yes.
wasn't okay. So
From Texas, yeah.
so it's all kind of born right here in the town,
Right,
which
yeah.
we love because I mean most people. If you said, have you ever heard of Doomsday Wrestling? You know, in a lot of circles.
Everyone's heard of it. What are you talking
Oh,
about?
I'm sorry. Yeah, everyone
gonna say
has heard
yes.
of it. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, how do you guys get your
Word
your
out.
name and the word out with it? I mean,
Back in the day when we first started, before social media was really as big as it is now, it was posters stapled on telephone poles, just dropping
The
handbills.
hustle.
Yeah,
The hustle.
I still do that a little bit now, but not as much, thank God.
You shouldn't. I don't think you should stray away from that
No.
because it does more than you think.
It does, and even if they see a poster for a show that's coming up, they might not go to that one, but it might put it in their head that they'll see it. Oh, there's that thing again. Maybe I should check that out down the road or something like that.
No,
like
I
that.
love
Yeah.
that you still do
Yeah,
that.
no,
I mean,
and
I think
it's a lot of
great-
fun too, and I complain about it, but it's really not that. I complain about every aspect of the show. To be honest, it's all fun. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun, but I just complain.
So you're gonna. So if
The aging
yeah,
Texas.
yeah,
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 no,
I was
yeah, I
trying to
used
think
to
of a
be way more
clever way to.
excited.
I was like Tex Lone Star Grandpa edition.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yelling at a cloud. Yeah, yeah.
That's not wrestling.
Tex is just throwing his walker from the side of the ring.
Right.
You know, it's like,
Yeah. So this week the WWE sold actually to Endeavor, which owns UFC.
I read about that this morning.
Yeah. Went through for a cool $9 billion
Yeah,
valuation
Can't
for
believe
the
they passed
WWE.
us up over for
I was going to
Yeah,
ask.
right.
Yeah, were you in the running? Or?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Fair
We were,
enough.
Yeah.
well, wow. I appreciate you spending time with the little people.
Yeah,
You know, the totem pole.
we're almost done, right? I mean, right?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I'm sorry. Is Dairy Queen calling?
Yeah.
I was like,
It's like you come to the table. It's like we can
I was
drop
like, you need
off
to go
as
to
many
Sonic?
of these zeros as we need to get something done here. So 2003. So what the heck inspired you to come up with this concept?
Okay, so me and my friends who were always from high school, and some of these kids I knew from middle school.
Old cellmates from when you were like
yeah,
12? Yeah.
in juvie. Yeah.
well, I mean, you know, when they steal.
Yeah, we were hanging out at Helios, and we were always hams. Like we never performed anywhere. We weren't theater kids or whatever. But we were always hams. We were always in little punk rock bands and stuff that never played anywhere though. We just played in my bedroom or whatever. And we were always just into being jackasses and stuff like that. So we were at Helios, and they had this huge stage. Back then, they had this huge stage in the backyard that they never used. I think I saw them use it one time for some dance thing that nobody went to. And we thought, well, I was there, I guess, but we actually I was there to see the girl I was dating at the time.
Oh, there it is.
So that's my way of dropping that. Yeah, I've had a girlfriend before. Yeah.
Sorry, ladies. Text is taken.
Well, back then it's not. I'm not with her now, so
Text is available.
Crickets. Okay, so anyway, we were back there, and we thought they never used that stage for anything, and it's kind of weird that they don't. And we thought it'd be funny if we could do something back there. And we're like, well, what are we gonna do? We don't want to do a band because everybody does that, and nobody. I mean, there are bands, of course, and I respect bands, but nobody. It's hard to get people to go see a band just out of nowhere. Like, hey, come see my band. I mean, how many times has someone told you that? And you might see them and they're good, but it's just hard for starting out. So we thought we need to do something that no one has done or something that doesn't typically happen. So we were like, we can't do a play because we're too stupid to be taken seriously in a dramatic play. So it has to be something.
I don't know. I'm currently involved in a show right now, which it's all about ridiculous.
Oh,
and
really?
stupid.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
you're,
yeah.
You're a pro actor.
So
yeah.
So I wouldn't undersell that too much.
Okay, I guess
but
not, yeah.
you guys do have unique
Thank you. Yeah.
spin on what you're doing on the theatrics portion
thank
of
you.
it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and there are theatrics. I'm not gonna say we're in your league as an actor. Like none of us are trained. It's just as far as it's just cut ups. It's hams in the on the stage or in the ring.
Don't worry, Tex.
yeah.
I don't have my white gloves on, so I'm good.
But we saw that and just thought we need to do something back there. So we decided, well, why don't we do a wrestling show, like a really absurd wrestling show where, just absurd things happen. It's not meant to be taken seriously. We're going to do this once and we're going to get it out of our system just to do it. And so we talked to the owner of Helios, and she just kind of nonchalantly said, yeah, whatever. And so we didn't even know if that was like a commitment. There was no like signing of a contract or anything. It was just kind of like, what date do you want to do it? And we set it up for like 3 months out. And so I got with my dad, and he helped me build, or I always do this. I say he helped me build. He built a ring while I stood around and watched.
No. You stick with that story.
Right.
Yeah. He helped me build, right?
Yeah, he helped me. Yeah,
Is your dad still around?
No, he's not.
Okay,
he's
so
not.
he helped you
He
build.
did.
Yeah, there you go.
He did. It is.
He's
It's
not,
in the past.
he's not going to
tense,
walk
yeah.
through the door. Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
No disrespect to your dad, but no, I think we always do that too. I
No,
do that to my
hear
dad
you.
too
I
all
hear
the
you,
time.
yeah.
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah.
So he built this ring for you.
Yeah, he built it. It wasn't even really a ring. Like it was more like a platform with some 4x4s in each corner. It was kind of similar to the ring I made for the Musclemen I was talking about previously, and just with some rope tied around it. So you couldn't really bounce off the ropes like in a functioning wrestling ring. You just had to kind of run into them and propel yourself off by yourself. So
Got it.
It was ultra more fake than it is now, than what we do now, which I won't say is realistic, but it's a little more realistic than that. I'll just say that.
Yeah, you had to. Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. But it was entertaining, and my mom helped make some costumes. Got on eBay, bought tights, went to dance stores, bought tights, and just kind of talked to my friends who I knew, saying, "Hey, man, would you help me out? We're going to do this wrestling show, and I think you'd be great as this character." And they'd be like, "Okay, sure, we can do that." And then kind of just getting roped into it. And we sent a press release, and at that time I didn't even know what a press release was, but my friend made one to the Houston Press, and it got a blurb on the front page of one of their issues, like a little like, "This will be happening on November 8th, 2003. Like I forgot what it said. It said something like "Appetite for Destruction," coming this weekend. and so that, I think that's what drew people in. But we thought we'd do this thing once, get it out of our systems, and we also thought 10 people would show up, and most of them would be our parents. Like we thought it's just going to be something to do. But it turned out 300 people showed up about. So, and that was, which isn't the highest number on earth, but for it blew our minds in our mid 20s, thinking, "Oh my God, all these people are paying $5 each to see us." It's not $5 anymore, but so no. And so then I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna keep doing this." And the guy who was helping me the most with it, he said, "I don't want to do it anymore. I just want to do it once." I said, "Okay, fine." So so from there, I just kept doing it. Some people stayed on. Some people would drop off. Some people would come back. And we just kept doing it, and here we are now. And we actually have a real ring now. Hey, look at there.
Okay, so you guys are obviously something struck a chord with people that wanted to see this.
Yeah,
and was
I guess
enjoying
so.
it.
Yeah.
But did you ever, when you guys started doing this, was this difficult? Because 2003.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's not long ago, but
It was 20 years ago.
20 years ago. But did you have a hard? Did you have a hard
decade or
time?
two.
Did you have a hard time trying to find people and be like, "Hey, by the way, we're gonna dress up as characters"? It's very creative.
Yeah, well,
I think
thank you.
it's awesome because you talk to anybody in school and that write stories or do that. Come up with characters.
Sure,
Writers do
it's
that all the time.
Most fun thing. Yeah.
But you guys were writing out these characters, I don't know, on paper, yes,
Um,
first, or like just straight up
Kinda in
concept in your head.
Concept in my head. A lot of it was archetypes of wrestling. Like you have the evil the evil Russian, for instance. We had a character named the Russian Bear for years who was just a Soviet, like as if he was frozen in the 1980s and then unthawed in the 21st century, and he forgot that the Iron Curtain had fell, and he was there. And he would say that actually, and just wrestling archetypes with a little twist on them, or just bonkers, insane characters that we'd come up with.
Do you still have the Russian Bear today?
He helps with it, and he plays bit parts. He doesn't wrestle anymore, though. And also, we kind of don't know if we should do the Russian thing, even though it's communist 1980s Russia, because of what's going on with Russia now. I don't know.
No, you got to double down,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, dude, he'll be the most hated person,
Yeah.
and like you get more people that like just hate him, and then
I
you
guess
just
so.
defeat him.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
He'd be a great heel, which is a wrestling term. What does heel mean?
You tell us.
Yeah. Oh, you wanted me to find it. Bad guy, villain. Y'all know that. I'm being obnoxious.
I did not.
You didn't know that?
No, I
You
didn't.
didn't know that?
I was about to
Oh, I
say.
didn't know that. Okay, good.
I was like, did you know that?
It's kind of funny that they just.
I was
It's
looking-
kind of funny that they just don't say bad guy, but I guess heel is a
Heel?
old carny term or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
like
right.
that.
There you go. Learn something
Yeah.
new.
And-
I kind of think the Russian Bear should do the whole Dolph Lundgren thing, though, right from Rocky. You know, I'm sorry about your friend, but I must break you.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello,
Yeah.
Boris.
Yeah, you could always have him come out with like a Ukraine flag. Right
Oh right,
there.
yeah, I
That
guess-
would really
yeah,
sell
oh,
well.
like he went over to the other side.
Oh
or
wow, we're
something.
just
Yeah.
going full fledged right into that.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, do you, so that's all right. But I'm curious. Like, do people give you a hard time? I mean, do you? I mean, because obviously, when you have people that love something, there's always
you mean fans who
fans
this
that,
ain't
like,
wrestling, that sort of
yeah,
deal?
or the fact that like you're grown people. What's wrong with you? I mean, I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, you're like, oh, this is stuff kids do, but I mean, you get pushback from everyone.
Yeah, sure.
And then there's because you look at the comic book age that's come out with Marvel, and I'm a big Star Wars.
Yeah,
nerd
it's
and
not
stuff, but
nerdy to like Star Wars.
No,
anymore.
it's not. But wrestling I feel is just at a different level. Am
Right.
I wrong to say? I mean,
wrestling to me still has a stigma to it as far as I mean, maybe now it's a pretty big business now, but it still has you still get people saying, you know, that's fake, right? You know, when you say you watch wrestling, which is so
Yeah.
But as far as pushback, when we started, there were like a few people who would either come to shows or post on our MySpace page.
like hecklers or trolling,
yeah, kind of like
trolling you?
saying this isn't real wrestling. This is just comedy bullshit or something like that. And it's like, yeah, of course, we never said it was, or it's it's not.
You
it's
got
not.
it.
It's not meant to be.
Hey,
You know,
good
it's,
for you.
Yeah, and,
way to go, Steve.
yeah, but there were a group of indie wrestlers who would come to our show, and they liked it, and they understood what we were doing, and they appreciated it, and they didn't think it was like, oh, they're like a rival indie league. We can't like
So
them.
you may have had. Did you have people from that were in the wrestling world that gave you
Yeah,
guys
but
pushback?
when I say from the wrestling world, I mean local, like Texas wrestling.
Yeah, okay.
But no one really there gave us pushback. They were all pretty cool. They would I'd see them in line. I would recognize them because sometimes I would go to indie shows. And when I said earlier I hate wrestling, I don't hate wrestling. I just don't like TV wrestling because it's gotten so serious. I do love to go to indie shows where the wrestling is just terrible and there's a chance the lights are going to go out and just all sorts of things are going to go wrong. I love that stuff.
You ever been
Yeah.
south of the border, like old school Mexican wrestling?
No,
with
but there is a place here. I wish I knew the name of the promotion, but of Lucha Libre, where I was the only white guy there, and it was just Lucha Libre, a lot of flipping and stuff like that. Great food at the concession stand, and
They're like, oh my
it was a lot of
goodness,
fun.
it's Tex Lone Star.
And there was in between matches, there was little kids would just get in the ring and wrestle each other, just kind of tumbling around, and then the ring announcer would get in the ring and shoo them off, like, okay, get out of here. Yeah, no, it was really cool. It was really charming.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How much training do you guys do? Because I know you say you're not like a wrestling league.
Yeah.
And there's that comedy element to it. But and any time you're doing, I call it fight choreo for
sure,
theater
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
You have to
Stage combat.
Yeah,
or
stage
whatever.
combat. You
Yeah.
actually have to do it safely.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
So do you guys have someone that trains all your guys specifically, or do you go somewhere for them to do that, or how do you guys do that?
We work out with what each individual, what they're comfortable with and what they're capable of doing. Most important thing is it's more important to be entertaining and funny and have good timing than it is to be an all-star Olympic athlete. If you are athletic, that's awesome. We can work with that. But if you're just funny, that's what our audience is paying to see. I believe they're not coming expecting us to do 2 backflips or something like that. So we just kind of evaluate as we pick up people. Like first, they have to be somewhat good performers and charming and engaging to an audience and stuff. But as far as combat or as far as action, it's just whatever level they're at. Like I used to wrestle more, but as I get older, I kind of don't. And I've never been an athletic person. I was never on team sports or anything like that. I'm just kind of uncoordinated and all that. But
before that fall took out your hip.
Yeah,
the-
eventually, but
that's why the walker's there.
yeah, I don't have a walker.
I'm just kidding.
I know. I'm letting the fans know that's fake news. But no, but no. So it's just like when I perform it, when I actually do wrestle, I'm not doing anything particularly athletic. I'm more usually taking a beating and then coming back at the end, or my daughter rescues me, which is usually the case. The 16-year-old girl wrestles me. Rescues me. I said wrestle me. But yeah, it just depends on each person. You hide their weaknesses and highlight their strengths. You could say, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think it's really kind of neat. Now, how do you vet for people? Like, what do you get a lot of submissions?
How do I find? Okay,
Yeah.
it's mainly people who come to our shows, and they'll show up, and after the show they're usually drunk. They'll come up and say, "Oh man, I totally want to do this. I know Taekwondo," or something like that, which is not what I'm looking for ever. But a lot of people say
Good
that.
for you, man.
Yeah, and so what I do is I give them a card with my name on it. It's a little drawing of me, and it says "Tex Lone Star" in quotes. I'm always looking for hot young talent, which is kind of creepy, and my phone number. And if they reach out to me, I'll meet up with them and talk. But 9 times out of 10, they don't even reach out.
Really?
It's just they're excited at the moment,
Got
they
it.
don't remember that they did it or something. But that's how I fight. It's usually after each show. There's about 3 or 4 people who come up and
Wow.
and want to do it, which is cool. So there's always kind of a
I like that you went right to Taekwondo.
well, it's always some sort of martial art like kung fu, or I should have said jujitsu. Everybody tells me.
Oh yeah,
They
because
do
because
jujitsu.
that's jiu-jitsu is very
Popular,
big
yeah.
with MMA
MMA,
fighters. So
And people who do jujitsu, do either you do guys?
no,
Whoops, do-
absolutely
okay,
not.
good. Everybody who
Absolutely not.
does jujitsu loves to tell you they do jujitsu.
Right? It's like being a vegetarian.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a vegetarian, by the way.
All right.
No,
long,
no.
long enough time in the room, you're gonna know. You know.
Well, you
Yeah.
have to forgive the burger that I
Yeah.
ordered.
Have you met Steve? He does judo.
My sister did taekwondo.
I did
for a-
taekwondo.
yeah, I never did martial arts.
Yeah.
My
No, I didn't
older,
do anything.
my older brother, I think, did like 2 weeks of karate and then dropped out.
No, I
or
did
something.
I did at the City of Bel Air Civic Center. I took a puppet making class. That
Oh,
was the
very cool.
closest thing I did to athletics.
That's ninja skills right there.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's helped me so much.
Well, before we keep going, if you guys are looking to find out more information on Doomsday Wrestling, you can go to their website, doomsdaywrestling.com.
That's right.
We'll also have it in the episode description, so check that out.
And you can also check us out on Instagram, Doomsday Wrestling. You can find me on Facebook at Tex Lone Star, or you can just look at our fan page, Doomsday Wrestling. And if you want to email me for whatever reason, you can email me at tex@doomsdaywrestling.com.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's like he's a promoter.
This is
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
He might be the hype man for the show after all. Now this is not to be confused with Text Lone Star.
Yeah.
That'll
No,
get
no.
totally unrelated results.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Tex, Tex.
But
Okay.
I do like that text. I do like that. I love the fact that you all have actually, made a 2-decade-long run at Parody, because
Thank you.
I've been
Yeah.
thinking a lot about Parody lately,
Mhm.
and I'm very curious, and I was very excited to have you in studio with
Mhm.
us to talk about this a little bit,
Yeah.
because I'm curious. Do you find that Parody is kind of becoming a niche type of comedy that really can only exist in like very specific environments? You guys are very specific, so
Yeah,
obviously.
we are, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess, are there still movies out? First off, my finger is not on the pulse with what's happening in pop culture, by the way. But are there still movies out, like Scary Movie and?
So this is exactly
Parody
why I
movies?
brought this up,
Yeah.
because I don't really know of very many parody movies that are out anymore. Scary Movie is probably the most
Popular,
recent that
or
I
the-
can
yeah.
think of.
I mean,
right?
they still make those teen movies, where it has to tip it like the
Wasn't Captain
American.
America one of those?
No, like the American Pie type of
Yeah, but is
genre,
that a parody
but like
though of anything, or is that
it's
just
not
a
necessarily
teen
a
movie?
parody.
Yeah.
It's not really a parody, but they go with the extreme
Summer
of
sex
Yeah,
movie. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of more or
Yeah.
less what you see.
Well,
I
they're
was
kind of
thinking more-
when they do it now. They are kind of winking and being like, "Hey, this is like those old movies you used to watch."
Yeah,
maybe that's what
yeah,
you mean.
yeah, a little bit, but nothing along the lines of like Austin Powers or
Right.
The
or
Naked
Me-
Gun.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I guess you're
nothing
right,
like
yeah.
Mel Brooks movies or Airplane.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I guess you're right. There's not really
there's not
in
anything
film.
like that.
Yeah.
But that's only because, in my opinion, people are really scared at putting something out there to as a joke.
Right. Yeah.
It's a joke. The fact that we're a society that's so sensitive
Mhm.
about things. I mean, and comedians are clapping back finally.
Mhm.
I'm really happy to see there's Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr and a couple of others, these big names, even Chris Rock with his new stuff. People are why go see a stand-up comic to then stay for the entire thing and then go up to them afterwards and be like, that thing really offended me. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
and
I'm like,
it's-
come on, man.
It's also like what you. It's like the reverse of know your audience. Like the performer should know their audience, but the spectator should also kind of know what they're getting into.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But people that are coming like something to like yours, that it's a parody, it's something or stand up comedian. It's like you're going and you have expectations of which you don't know everyone's expectation, right?
Yeah.
But you show up and then you find yourself, I'm going to make sure that I go up and tell you I was offended. I mean, really,
that hasn't happened.
Well, I'm glad.
I don't, or to me at least, it hasn't happened.
I'm glad. Although when they start telling you that you can be very excited because then you made it.
Actually, we did have one. We did have one.
See, you made it.
Now that I forgot. Okay, so we had a character named Father Superior who's basically a wrestling priest, and this is a very offensive. Let me just warn you. Maneuver he used to do called the crucifixion. He'd pick somebody up on his back. Forgive me for I know you grew up with crucifixes.
Yeah. Born and raised Catholic, but you're fine, dude.
Yeah,
don't worry, you're good.
And he would put someone on his back, and like they'd be back to back, and he'd lift them with his arm, hold them in the air, and they'd cross their legs, their ankles ever so slightly, and hold their arms out, and kind of tilt their head to the side to mimic the crucifixion of guess who. No, I'm joking. We all know. and then he
all of our atheists listening.
And then
he'd
drop him, and that'd be his finishing maneuver, and he'd pin him. But one time I got an email from someone saying, "I didn't appreciate your crucifixion move from your character Father Superior. You wouldn't have done that with a Muslim character." And in my mind, I thought, well, if I could think of something funny enough, I would.
Yeah.
But it's,
I can understand
easier
that.
to make fun of certain groups of people. I don't know.
That's true. But look at theater, the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
They made writers of South Park. They make fun of people all the time in every religion and things like that. So
to God, I mean, all kinds of
absolutely. Yeah. I think you absolutely can, because you're poking fun at everyone. I go when if it was an entire show about that.
Yeah, if it was just
I
in general.
I could see that more or less. And I understand when you start talking about religious stuff.
Yeah.
That's always been a soft spot for a lot of people. And so I can get that some people don't enjoy, don't appreciate that as much. That's fine.
Yeah.
But again, it's not for everybody, and not every character is going to ring true.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know what I mean?
And I think in my mind, as far as offending people, if you're going to do it, you kind of have to go pretty into it to the point that it's absurd. And that you're kind of winking at the audience, then knowing that it's absurd.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't come across like you're sending some sort of, this is my stance on this, everybody, with my comedy wrestling show. So
see, and that's where I have issues with everything, and which I'm excited that you guys do something like that. And the same thing with the comedians, and even shows and that are continuously doing that, because we need to laugh.
Sure,
we need to laugh. We need to have those moments, and being overly sensitive about every little thing, and not taking a what is meant to be a joke or something humorous and turning it into, oh, he really means that, and he's talking to me. I'm like, whoa.
How dare you, sir?
I was like, get off your high horse a little bit. I mean, you're not the only one.
Like, if I was so anti-priest or whatever she thought I was, why would I? What a weird way to go about it. Okay, I'm gonna start a comedy wrestling league, and that's how I'm gonna get my message out. That I don't care for these priest guys.
Nobody was reading the manifesto, so I had to come up with something.
This is the best way to get my point across.
I mean, people make jokes all the time to me about that. Yeah. About being Catholic and priests and jokes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, so. It kind of is what it is. I mean, you have there's a theater show, there's a musical called Nonsense All Men, and it's literally all men as the nuns.
Huh.
So it was like Nonsense was but then you have another one that's it's literally the same or a similar show, but the men are playing the nuns.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just
that sounds great.
I heard a few years ago they were going to do a resurgence or a remake or what do you call the end of a trilogy? The last movie of a trilogy has a name, right?
Dead franchise.
The third part.
So fine. The third part.
End?
The third part of the
end?
the third part of the Dead franchise, Sister Act. I heard they're going to bring Sister Act.
Sister
back
Act. Has there been two of those?
There were two.
There were two.
Yeah.
I actually dig both
Really?
both.
They were
Sister Acts,
fun.
I think I
actually.
saw part one. I
They
didn't know
were
there was a
1 and
sequel.
2. They were both good.
They
I
were fun,
enjoyed
but
it.
I think it got canceled. I think they actually decided not to do it because they were too worried about offending people, which
With
is
the
really
religious- at the
fascinating.
religious
offending
aspect.
Catholics and specifically, I guess,
My-
or
my-
just religion.
or
in
just
My guess would be
religion.
religion
Yeah.
in general at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, well,
but I
that's too
found that
bad.
interesting. But
Yeah.
as I'm sitting here saying there's been no parody recently, I decided to do a little Googling. And it turns out there are parody movies out. Like recently they had Daniel Radcliffe was playing Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh
in
yeah,
a
yeah.
parody
in a totally
about-
fictionalized
yeah,
biopic.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Because that's like, to me, that speaks to the whole niche audience part of parody that I'm finding is becoming commonplace, right? Where it's like, as long as you're going in, doing something very specific,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you can sell
Oh, that's
it.
true. Yeah, because that's a very It's about a guy's life who's kind of a parody. He's a parody already. Now it's a parodic. I don't know if that's a word. Take on
It is now.
on
Steve's a
on-
parrot dick.
What's but of a guy who's already doing parody to begin with. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But that's what would you expect though? Would you expect them to make a serious film about his life? I mean, I guess that probably could be interesting too. But
No, I think I think people are being careful with the way they do it
yeah.
because there was not too long ago we went to a show and saw a Friends the musical parody, and it was literally
weird.
I mean that's what it was. It was about
Yeah.
it was Friends,
like the characters of Friends.
characters of Friends in a parody form.
Okay.
And it was just very ridiculous.
Right, okay.
And you get all the fan people that go and like me and who loved the show growing up and things like that. But they've done it with The Office, same writers.
Okay,
They've
yeah.
done it with, but you can tell that there are boundaries
Right.
that they don't that they're not pushing.
Right.
Right, like
okay.
you can't sell it like Airplane, right? Where like
Oh,
every
yeah.
other
No,
joke
exactly.
is
Which-
hilarious.
Which I love Airplane.
It's a
I love
hilarious
Airplane.
movie. Yeah, and I find that really interesting. I find it interesting that we've had to sort of. You bring up Dave Chappelle, and I think you're right that the fact that Dave Chappelle has had such a resurgence in his career is sort of indication that maybe cancel culture is sort of peaked and maybe coming off the other side of the mountain a little bit. But
I think so.
you still couldn't sell the Dave Chappelle show today.
He doesn't have a show now. I'm really out of touch.
No, he just does stand-up.
He does
He just does
stand-up,
stand-up.
and he had a deal with Netflix.
Can he not get a
and
show, or is it just
I don't
he's
think he.
staying away
I don't
from
think he
it, or?
wants one at
Oh,
this
okay,
point.
yeah.
I think he's doing what he really wants at this point,
stand up,
and he's doing his stand-up, and he's getting out there, and he's.
It's high level social commentary.
It
really,
is.
At this
It,
point.
it
sure.
really is. I mean, it's with a lot of humor, but the fact is, his humor has truth to it. Which is a lot of these comedians that are doing that
Right.
because they were having other comedians tell them that you can't say things like that or getting after each other. I'm like, wow, that was what told me something. I was like, when you have other comedians feeling offended by another comedian,
Right, yeah.
I'm like, damn, man, you're in the wrong business.
Yeah, well,
I'm just like,
yeah, it's interesting. Like, there's like a few Netflix specials. I recently watched it. It takes me like 3 years to be up to date on anything. I watched the Bo Burnham special. Did y'all watch that?
I haven't seen the Bo Burnham special yet.
It's him locked in his house for COVID, and it's I don't know what point I was trying to make. I was just saying. I guess it was a new take on comedy, and it didn't come off as like it wasn't trying to send a message to anything like that. It was just a funny show.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Yeah, so watch that. I'll promote that. Well, watch that if you get the chance. It's on Netflix. It needs all the help it can get. Don't go to my show. Go watch that.
Very
So-
Seinfeld.
yeah.
All right, so tell me then, what would you consider your most like risque characters right now? Your most risque
right now?
performers?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you one from a long time ago that it's risque, but I don't think it's that offensive. But we had a character a long time ago in the first few shows named Summer's Eve, who was a woman who would, when the referee wasn't looking, she'd squirt a douche in her opponent's face, which is really cheap humor. But I don't know if that's not really offensive though. But
that
right
is
now,
such like a Naked Gun style gag.
yeah.
Do you practice safe sex? I do. Full body contact.
Right.
Hey, I'm telling you, man. I don't think all of these. What you're talking about, I don't think all of these gags are out of reach of people using them, right? And
Sure.
still laughing at that. I mean, I saw a show in Vegas called Absinthe, and it was kind of dirty. It was a variety show,
Sure,
but it was
yeah.
like it was pretty.
It's one of those outside the Win, right? They have their own tent.
It
and
was
all
outside the Caesar's Palace.
Caesar's Palace.
Yeah,
Thank
Caesar's
you.
Palace.
Okay.
But yeah, it was pretty vulgar. Like
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
it was really in your face. And I found humor, and there were some funny things, but there was points when it was too much for me.
Yeah.
You know, they went too, for me personally.
Really?
Was I about to storm out and be like,
No, it's
yeah, you know, it's like, or write them, you know, I had a very strongly worded email,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, no.
and you can get bothered or whatever, but it's no, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to go through the whole roster. We recently, she just retired. Actually, had this isn't racy, but we had a woman who was she started in the show when she was about 54 years old, and her name was Hot Flash. And she was the
I think that's great.
The menopausal mauler, and everyone loved her. Everyone just loved her.
Menopausal mauler.
Yeah, and I don't think that offended
what
anybody.
you can call your wife as she gets older.
Yeah.
Honey, I apologize in advance.
Neighbors Don't Knock is produced by C&G Communications. C&G specializes in small batch voiceover and video production for commercial media, podcasting, radio, and more.
Combining years of experience in podcasting, acting, and sales, C&G offers big media products at small business prices.
That's right. To learn more, visit their Facebook page or email them directly at admin@cngcommunications.com.
So you mentioned your April 15 event.
Yes.
I want to make sure that our listeners and our viewers know what's going on here.
Yes.
So because this is coming up, and this is your spring Break Your Face
That's right.
event.
That's right. The spring Break Your Face. It's a little late for spring break. Saturday, April 15th at Eureka Heights Brewing in the Heights of Houston, Texas, starting at 8:30 p.m. Spring Break Your Face. 5 pulse pounding matches. I'll run through a few of them. Chest Hair Assassin takes on Larry Christmas, the Drunken Mall Santa, versus the man with razor wire chest hair. Find out who's the superior athlete right there. Rochella, the half woman, half cockroach, all action cockroach lady. Rochella will be taking on HPD. I'm not going to tell you what that stands for. You have to buy a ticket and find out.
And how much are tickets?
Tickets are, I don't know. No, they're they are. I think they're about
whatever you want.
I think they're $16 online. DoomsdayWrestling.com. Check it out. There's a link to our tickets there. There you should be able to get a seat. There's plenty of seating. And name a few more matches for you. Let's see what.
I see Time's Up Thomas.
Time's Up Thomas taking on Salty Pete. That's the master of all time zones. Time's Up Thomas. He needs to know what time it is at all times. Versus the walking sea urchin, Salty Pete. That's what is that? Then we have the Stormin' Mormons, a tag team all the way from Salt Lake City. They leave their multiple wives and pedal down all the way to Houston, Texas, and they'll be in a 2-on-1 match taking on Pound Cake, the most badass baker in Houston, Texas. There you go. And there's plenty more matches. I think I named 3 there. There's 2 more, but you got to come pay to see those.
I love that. So we will make sure, like we said earlier, to have that link in our episode description. You can go ahead and go to doomsdaywrestling.com and you can click on the link to get tickets to that event. But tell me, this says here this is part of the 713 Pillapalooza series.
Okay. I hate to say that. That is a Eureka Heights Brewing thing. They're debuting a new beer called 713 Pills. It's a new beer.
Well, if you happen to be at the event, be sure to try out their new beer, their Pillapalooza. I'm sure they would appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a whole weekend long event. Besides us, there's bands playing and other stuff like that.
So outside of this match, and other than following you on the web, things like that, is there a way that people can otherwise book you and your troupe to do shows? Do you do private bookings?
We haven't done many. We were offered one time to do a wedding. That fell through because of COVID, though. We've done festivals that people have hired us before. Little, I won't say they're private parties, I guess, but they were it was like company parties. But yeah, you can reach out to me at tex@doomsdaywrestling.com, and I don't really have a set price. It just depends on how long you want us to perform and
$1 million
minimum. No, and just from we can work out something from there.
$100 million.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did you say you're calling from the UFC? Yeah. Hang on. I need to add a couple of zeros to this.
Well, I appreciate you taking time to hang out. It's really interesting to meet and to know, because I learned a new wrestling term, as well as what you guys do, because I had no idea. So this is great, because I I would challenge anyone outside of Houston to see if you guys have something as fun as Doomsday Wrestling going on in your city.
Probably not.
So probably not. So you're going to have to come down to Houston, but check out when their shows and matches are, doomsdaywrestling.com. Again, link in the episode description right there. So yeah, absolutely. Tex, man, it's so great to have you on the
Thank you.
show.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Do you have any neighborly advice that you'd love to pass on to
I-
our fellow neighbors and listeners?
I would say neighborly advice. I thought about this for a while, meaning from this morning when you wrote me about neighborly advice, and I thought
Peek behind the curtain.
I should say that I thought I should say something really funny, but I drew a blank. I'll just say, if you're an entertainer of sorts and you write your own material, you're not doing it for pay for somebody else. You're putting yourself out there and you're writing your own stuff. Make sure that your audience can understand it, okay? Because I've been to too many events where you can tell there's a million inside jokes and nobody knows what the hell is going on. And that's a rule I follow in Doomsday Wrestling. Like, sometimes there'll be a few dudes in the show who like wrestling a whole lot and they want to do these moves that they saw on TV. For what reason? So they can feel cool, like they're wrestlers, and no one in the audience is going to appreciate it as much as they are. So by that rationale, why do it? In other words, if it's only impressing you, then don't do it. And do it for your audience. That's some odd neighborly advice.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
neighborly
do
advice.
it for
That's
your
some
audience.
high-level
That's what I
stuff.
say. Know your audience and think, will my audience like this? And first off, will they understand it? That's probably the first rule. So there you go.
All right,
Yeah.
I like it. I love it.
Yeah, flatulence does not always sell.
Right. Yeah.
you know?
Well, it's usually pretty funny though. I mean that
I mean, there's a
come on.
reason they still sell whoopee cushions.
Yeah.
I just like right away. You're like, no, that's actually
Yeah.
that one does sell. Actually,
That one works.
those jokes land.
I mean, how many fart noises have I put in our TikTok videos?
The man makes a good point.
yeah. So
And as far as other neighborly advice, check us out Saturday, April 15th at Eureka Heights Brewing Company, Doomsday Wrestling, Spring Break Your Face.
I like that.
That's
there
right.
you go. There you go. Tex, thank you so much for
Thank
being on
you.
the show.
yeah, I
Thank you.
appreciate
Very
it,
cool.
man.
Nice
It's-
talking to you.
Thank you for hanging out with us, and for all of you neighbors out there. If you check the episode description for links to everything, or hit us up at admin@neighborsdon'tknock.com. Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Also, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and the notification on our YouTube channel. Helps bring us more content to you, and that way you know when things are great, new things that are coming out.
It's true.
Right?
It's true. And speaking of social media, don't forget to look up Doomsday Wrestling on their social media. It's the best way you can follow them.
Yep, excellent. New episodes every Friday. We'll catch you next week. Peace.
Out.
Later.